Red's Fly Shop, this is Bob. How may I help you today?
Look at that. Woo! Hi, it's Joe at Reds. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to do a little wet wading footwear throwdown. I've got a bunch of shoes that I've been wearing, and I'm just going to give you a little feedback on how to choose a good wet wading shoe for your adventure. You don't have to have all the stuff that I do. I'm constantly testing stuff, and I spend a lot of time in the water, so naturally I've got a lot of footwear. In fact, I've got stuff that's not even out here on the table right now. But hopefully if you're shopping for footwear, you're thinking about getting something for wet wading, I can make some sense of this and you can make a smart purchase and hopefully do it at Reds. Naturally, all the stuff I'm going to talk about, we do sell at Reds, and we appreciate your business. We also appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel, like, comment, ask questions. I get back to those every couple of days. But we're midsummer right now, we're not wearing waders, and we want to have some footwear that offers us a really good option for whatever it is that we're doing. And I think we'll start with kind of lightweight footwear, and I've done independent reviews on both these products, but I have a lot more days of field on both of my, just say light, low top footwear. These ones are still wet actually from this morning. And that is the Sims Pursuit shoe, and that is a Korkers Swift, I think it's Swift Current Sandal. And the lightweight footwear, I'm gonna be perfectly blunt with you. If you're actually going fishing, like wade fishing, like real fishing, like a solid few hours to a day, just leave these at home or leave them in the car. They're not gonna be great for that. I think if you're really gonna move about a stream, you really do wanna have a high top with more support. Now these do have a roll. If you're doing a little quick little outing, fishing roadside, you know, just sampling the water, the low top stuff is great. And if you're in and out of a boat, the way I am quite a bit during the summer, they are unbelievably handy because I don't want to wear a big heavy set of wading boots when I'm in and out of the boat the whole time. It's just completely unnecessary. But I appreciate the ankle support and the traction offered by a boot when I'm actually going fishing. Now the Sims Pursuit shoe, I did a review this spring. I wore them around the shop a little bit and reviewed them, and I still really like the shoe, but I know a little bit more about it now. Number one thing I want to point out, just as maybe somewhat of well, it is a negative, this venting right here gets horrifically covered in cheatgrass. So if you're going to walk cross country through, you know, sagebrush and cheatgrass and stuff, these things for me, I walked about a half mile cross country one day through the prairie, and they looked like I had 2 chia pets and had fur growing from my feet. And I've since plucked it all out and worn it quite a bit, but I'm still picking cheatgrass out of there. Not an issue at all if you're just kind of in the water and out of the water. The traction, I would give it about, you know, a solid 5 to 6 out of 10 for in-river traction. You know, they're a rubber shoe. They're, you know, they are siped. They do have halfway decent traction, but if I'm going fishing, I don't think the Pursuit shoe is a really great choice for that. The only complaint that I've heard, and overwhelmingly positive, I mean, I don't want to make this sound like, I'm getting down on the shoe at all. Overwhelmingly positive experiences, but there are a few seams in the back here, and a couple of the staff have reported that this does bother them a little bit if their feet are wet for long periods of time, and that just rubs them a little bit. I have not experienced that at all. I wear them straight barefoot, but I have pretty tough, nasty, calloused up feet, so it hasn't bothered me. This gasket right in here, this neoprene, does an excellent job of keeping out small dirt, sand, and rocks. I'm very, very impressed by that. It doesn't allow you to just really step in practically, like you can kind of slide them on as slippers, but that is one thing they lack. This is going to be a little bit of a chore for some of you to get down there and get on and just get your foot in there. But once you're in, and it does a nice job of sealing out particulate and things like that. They have a pretty good quality insole. A bunch of the guys at work wear these just daily in the shop. Bogey in the basement, you'll see him wearing his on the concrete floor, picking orders and moving around the shop all day. But one thing he said, absolutely got to take these insoles out when you let them dry, which I should do right now, because they do end up with an odor, which is very common among a lot of different wet wading shoes, especially ones you're wearing next to skin. But you should take those insoles out and let those dry. But overall, it's been a great shoe and very comfortable. Now, these I have not been wearing as much, mostly because I've been testing, you know, the Sims Pursuit shoe. But another option, especially if you're already in the Korkers product family, are these Swift Current sandals, and I really like these. And these are just, I kind of half-assed put this sole in this morning because I had been wearing felt in these sandals, and these soles are interchangeable. So I can have a sandal that I can wear around town. They can replace my Keen sandals or just a summer shoe. And then I can actually beef them up and I can run felt. This sole will actually plug right into there. As long as your wading boots and your sandals are the same size, they're completely compatible. So if you have a set of Korkers boots with felt soles or studs or something like that, I can make these sandals. I can kind of write my own adventure with those. Now, the advantage to having openings on the sides, there's a pro and a con. One is you're going to get more sand and rocks in the sides, but the advantage to some is you can actually take and swash your foot around in the current and wash some of that sand or mud or stuff like that out of there without actually having to physically take the shoe off. So I think it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. They do a fine job of staying tied, and you know, they don't loosen up on me. I don't have any complaints about the product at all. These have been very popular at Reds, but I think if you want a sandal, but you also want some traction, it's a great choice. They've held up good. And I just brought this down for kind of a prop. You can buy, you know, most of you that know this, but you can actually buy whatever sole, Omnitrack sole from Korkers you want to put in that sandal. So if you like wearing a sandal, but you want felt with studs, for instance, you can buy a studded felt sole for that sandal and just plug it right in there. So if you're in the Korkers cult, yeah, I think that'd be kind of a good choice. I like the shoes. Zero complaints about either product. I think they're good. Now, if I'm actually going to go fishing, here's my system. I've been testing, and you'll have to look for a different review on the channel, but I've been testing these two boots head to head. They're both Korkers boots. This is their Chrome Lite boot. It's a newer boot, and it's just a fixed rubber sole. It's not interchangeable. With this new super duper, you know, blah, blah, blah rubber they've got that, you know, you could walk upside down with it or whatever it is that they claim. But I've been testing these two boots side by side and actually wade fishing with one on one foot and one on the other to test the traction of the boot in general. I've been wearing the Devil's Canyon. We'll just start with the older boot. I've been wearing the Devil's Canyon a lot. They've held up amazing. I've done lots of reviews on these. I am still a huge fan of that boot. Ultra light, held up amazingly well, very durable. People ask about whether I lose the soles. You know, I get in the mud or the snow, and it seems like once every year to 18 months, I will lose a sole in the mud. And for me, usually I don't even notice it's gone. I don't like leaving a sole behind. I'm not excusing the fact that I left something behind or litter. But to me, that's not really that big of a deal economically because I replace the felts once a year anyways, so I can actually resole the boot. And as the felt wears thin, the boot's not worn out. So I actually like to be able to just replace the felt anyway. And honestly, I usually don't even know it's gone. It's happened twice in like 4 years, so maybe every 2 years or so I lose a sole. But here's what I've been wearing a bunch recently is I've been wearing the Korkers Chrome Lite. I decided I would just put one of these on. This is the Korkers Chrome Lite again, and really like the boot so far. I'll do like a detailed review of it on a different video, but this is the system. If I'm actually going fishing, like fishing hard, either half day to a day, I want to have good traction. I'm going to wear a boot with a neoprene sock like this. And that neoprene sock is just soft. If I get sand or pebbles in there, the neoprene absorbs it. If it's really cold water, it makes essentially a wetsuit for my foot, so the water against my skin is warm. They are not waterproof. That's not the idea. We actually want them to drain so that when I step out of the river, the water goes out of the socks rather than walking around with neoprene socks full of water. So, but I wear it like this, and then this makes a nice gravel guard over the top right here so that I can't get sand and rocks and stuff inside my boots. And then if I'm gonna walk through a brushy section or someplace there might be poison oak or something, I can actually pull this up and have some shin protection if I'm walking through tall grass, if I happen to be wearing shorts that day. and it just tucks down and is pretty handy, and then I can clip that gravel guard down. Now, one addition for wet wading that I can't tell you how much I love this, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I love it like a 15, is what they call their wet wading insert. And this is my normal wading boot. I wear a size 11 in everything, Korkers, Sims, whatever, it's all the same for me. And you don't have to buy bigger wading boots typically unless you're a half sizer. But this boot would normally be too big because I have my waders and I have maybe a wool sock on. So if I put it on just over a thin sock, or this neoprene sock's actually quite thin, not nearly as thick as a wader because it fits very tight, my boots are going to be sloppy and too big and unpleasant. So what Korkers makes is they actually make an insert, and I've done another review on this specifically, but I want to mention it today in this discussion. This insert, it's cheap, it's thick foam, it's very comfortable, it's going to make your wading boots feel like Nikes, and it's really cushy, and you actually just cut it to the shape. So I put this inside my wading boot, and then I put the standard insole back on top of that, and it brings my foot up quite a bit and makes my wading boot fit nice and snug and gives me a really nice cushion in the bottom. And to me, that's the best, like true, like get after it wet wading combination that I have. So that's sold by Korkers. Of course, there's links in the video description. We want to help you, but we also want to get some sales from you if we can. So anyway, that's my rundown on wet wading, footwear. I think there's something for everyone. Do you need all this stuff? Absolutely not, but you probably want to have comfortable feet, especially in and around the water, doing something that you really love. I think it's worth putting a little time and thought into as well. But those are the products that I'm using, and that's my story.